Okay, what's up, everybody? Christopher Leon Johnson here. So happy Tuesday, the 26th of August. It's really cold for an August. Well, I love when it's cold in the summertime. I hate when it's humid in the summertime. But I want to make a quick video about this because of the fact that I saw the Transportation Alternatives Facebook stories and Instagram stories. They know a lot of the people that's on Twitter that are really opposed to what they do are not on Facebook and X, Facebook and Instagram. So what they do now, because they're scared of counter protesters or people that protest their bullshit and they deserve to get their shit protested, is they post everything on Facebook and Instagram stories so they know that, so prevent the people that they expect to come out to call their bullshit out in their faces. And I'll make this clear to a lot of people that the only way, like I said, I saw the Isaiah video, and shout out to Isaiah video, and how he explained of how the only way we're gonna really put these fuckers in their place is through these fuckers in their place. So these fuckers in their place is these fuckers in their place is really getting their faces and calling them out. And I'm not trying to advocate for violence, and it's by getting their faces and calling them out. These fuckers like Transportation Alternatives and Hope Plans, it's really getting their face and call their asses out in their faces. I'm not here, like I say, guys, 2025 is that I'm not here to advocate violence. I'm not here to promote any violence towards any organization or advocacy group or any nonprofit that I don't approve of. You know what I mean? I don't fuck with. And I am condemning any violence that anybody might try to think of doing going forward. But at the same time, I want to make clear that there's many nonprofits in the city that act like they're trying to do the right thing for the communities and the people that they supposed to serve, but always, and you start finding out that it's an ulterior motive that is behind of what they really want to accomplish, and they do it majority of the times off the backs of the people who unfortunately lose their lives through many things. So tomorrow there's gonna be a visual tomorrow. I don't know if I'm gonna show up for that. I don't know. I might not. I don't know if I'm show up for that. I don't know the exact decision with this. But tomorrow in Astoria, and Astoria is socialist land, basically around that area, 19th to 42nd socialist land. There's gonna be a vigil tomorrow honoring of the people who, I think it's like 2 people that died over there in Astoria, but many people died in Astoria through traffic violence. And the sad thing is that Transportation, like I said, they know who's where to put the stuff at. If they wasn't that stupid, they would never ever try to, in that same vigil flyer, push the agenda that they want to push, which is the Western Queens street safety plan. And let me explain this, right? Let me explain this right now. Look, I am pro street safety. I am not anti-street safety. I care when people lose their life to traffic violence. I care when people lose their life to all type of violence. I'm one of the biggest anti-gun violence advocates in the city. Not the biggest, but I mean, I do my best to advocate against these gun violence in the city, to where I say that, look, there's a gun violence problem in the city. especially here, right here, the 93rd, right over there. That building right over there, 93rd Street. We're now in Monique Chandler Waterman's district, and right over here, guys, is the area where a lot of gun violence happen the most, which is the 58th State Assembly District. But I want to make clear that the way you're going to fix this is by not funding these ineffective cure violence nonprofits. I guess that's a different video. But to go forward, that the way you going forward with this whole situation for tomorrow, what Transportation Alternatives is trying to do is say that the way you can prevent more of these deaths that's happened in Astoria is by implementing the Western Creek Street Safety Plan. Now, that plan is a plan where if you're following what's happening right now in Astoria, and the thing about it is that which was happening in Astoria is what happened on 31st Avenue, where Transportation Alternatives is hell bent on getting that bike lane installed in that area, to where now the people that represents the business owners in Astoria sued the city, to where the judge has put an injunction, like a restraining order, a TRO, to the DOT, to where they can't do shit to that area. Now, Transportation Alternatives is a little upset about that, to the point where there are a lot of those bike bros out there. They might be out there tomorrow because it's part of the Western Queens Street Safety Plan. They went around and start heckling the businesses that sued the DOT to stop the bike lane for now. So still legal limbo. The judge might say, look, the DOT can go forward and putting the bike lane in, whatever happens, right? So tomorrow, Transportation Alternatives will exploit the deaths of the people that died recently in Astoria to push the Western Queens Street Safety Plan. And I'm gonna say this right now. I say, look, the Western Queens Street Safety Plan is basically a way to say, like, well, the way you're gonna end traffic violence in the city, in Astoria, and throughout Western Queens. The Western Queens is Sunnyside, Long Island City, Court Square, Astoria, basically Western Queens. The way we're gonna solve this is by putting all the cars out of the sidewalk right here. You take all the cars at the sidewalk and you put them on the first, so basically what they want to do, I'm not in the store right now. So you see here, this is what is it? East New York Avenue. And what they want to do is, they can't do it here because it's too narrow. But what they want to do is to make sure that no cars are on by the sidewalk, and put them over there right after the white line. That's what they want to do. They want to put all the cars after the white line so they could designate that whole lane to cyclists. And that's what they're saying that is going to save a lot of lives, which is crazy because Transalt, but they know why they will never say this, and I'll say why they will never say this. Transportation Alternatives, the reason they won't call the stuff out, like what happened, I think, like last year in Astoria, where you had a cop did a chase with, I think it was a stolen truck. They was chasing a stolen truck in Astoria, and the cops, they know the law is that they couldn't chase. Everybody know the patrol guy says that cops cannot chase. They cannot do a high-speed pursuit because unless it's a terrorist attack, like something really, really like crazy, like a kidnapping or a terrorist attack, they cannot they can't do chases. So I'll say why. I don't give a fuck. Transportation Alternatives will never call the stuff out, where people that died last year in Astoria was because in Astoria, there's another situation happened in Astoria, around that area, was because of a couple cops that chased a truck to the point where they unfortunately lost their lives. And somebody got hit and run, and they caught the people. But the thing about it, that Transportation Alternatives, they will never call the stuff out. The only people that really called it out were the moderates on X, and and the finals unfiltered. But Transportation Alternatives, and this time was under Elizabeth Adams, who was the co-executive director, and mainly Elizabeth Adams, because Danny Harris left and Ben Fernandez was not there. And I'll make this clear that Ben came in like this year. So that was under the Elizabeth Adams tenure, when she was co-ED. But let me explain what happened was, look, the reason she will never say, and none of the people Transportation Alternatives or Los Urbanistas or Open Plains will say that what happened to those people in Astoria last year was because of police negligence and police breaking the patrol guide, and the fact that cops will never ever get held accountable for what they did because they had a union and they felt what they did was right. And the reason that Transportation Alternatives, LDU, and Open Plains will never call the stuff out, is because of the fact that they know that the reason that they are able to do what they do, go over the city and bully people around, threaten everybody, harass people, do every shit they want to do in the city to get their shit pushed through, is because of the fact that the cops protect them. And they know that while the cops protecting their asses, they're fucked. So they can't never call out their NYPD. I'll call them out. But basically, this is what they're planning on with the Western Queens street safety plan. This is their goal. This is an example of what they want. This is an example of what Transportation Alternatives want out of Western Queens, where they don't want no cars on the sidewalk. Now they don't want no cars on the sidewalk, and they want all the cars right here for their bike roads to ride their bikes down the area, up and down the area. Now this place is bikes never come down here, and the reason they don't come down here because this area is poorly lit. I can spend that shit all day. This area is poorly lit, really poorly lit, and you never know what's down here. There was a time about 20 years ago where you couldn't walk around, you couldn't walk down here. This is Eastern Parkway by Lincoln Terrace Park. You couldn't walk down here without worrying about getting some bullshit. But basically, Transalt, what they're gonna do tomorrow is split the depths, reach the depths to justify saying that we need to get rid of the cars in the area. We gotta do daylighting. We gotta put bike lanes, daylighting, road diets, and all this shit like that. And it will prevent more deaths. And I think that's bullshit. And I'm explaining right now that concept and that train of thought and approach that TA is going to do tomorrow is complete bullshit. And they know it's bullshit, but it's about the money here. It's all about the money. And definitely got to understand what's going on is that they are fueled by money. And it's sad. But like I said, guys, it's like you got people that are hell bent on fucking up your neighborhood, whether you like it or not. And like Transportation Alternatives, and they don't care because the elected officials, there's a lot of elected officials that are scared of them, especially the one that they put on the flyer, Tiffany Caban. But there's many other elected officials that serves that area that all bends over to TA, but they get upset when people like me call out the bullshit and call out the obvious and say, you fuckers bend over to Transalt, but y'all don't like that shit, but y'all do it. I never got the elected official, and that's the problem with this New York City politics, is where these elected officials do the shit they do, like Caban and Valdez and Madani, who, like I said, he probably gonna show up in his governmental capacity. He might show up his governmental capacity tomorrow because that's his district. and State Senator Janaris, and mainly in Raga and Gonzalo Rojas, because she's run for state senate, and Donovan Richards. Like I said, they all capital transportation alternatives in Astoria, but they get mad when people say it. You know what I mean? That's like when somebody picks their nose, but they get mad when somebody say, "Yo, you pick your fucking nose." Yeah, because you know it's wrong. You know it's not it's wrong that you did. You don't like people calling you out for it. But tomorrow, it's just something where in 2025, where like these elected officials, like these nonprofits, they do things with straight impunity, and they don't care about what other people think. And you know, and the thing is that unless the communities start coming out and calling their shit out to their faces and calling their bull, I'm in front of church. Sorry about that, guys. Calling out their bluff to their faces, they're gonna keep on doing what they do. Now you gotta understand that people. I know there are a lot of people that watch my stuff, and people gotta understand that they watch my stuff and they know I'm against TA and shit like that. And I'll explain why. I'll explain why to people that a lot of stuff in Brooklyn, and a lot of people, they know, like, because look, the way I did it, and myself and Raul Rivera and JQ, Joe Cianci, shout out to JQ LLC, the way we did it was aggressive. And I don't take anything back of what I did, and I don't think that Raul and JQ will ever do is say either. They don't take shit back. And the reason we had to be aggressive, and like I said, we got to keep on doing it. We got to do it, and it had to happen, is because of the fact that the way that the mainly TA and open plans do it is through real aggression. They bully people, they threaten people, they threaten elected officials, they do whatever they got to do to get things done. But they cannot. But the thing is that, you know, the thing about it, and you start finding out, and the way they get scared is that they don't like it when their fire gets fought with other people's fire. And I tell people this is that you got to fight fire with fire. Being all nice and expecting the enemy to be nice to you and respond to your emails and respond to your phone calls and compromise, and it's not happening. And I try to tell people this all the time is that the reason, like myself, I can get aggressive. I'm not saying I'm not gonna hurt nobody or do anything like violent, anything like that weird shit. But the reason you have to get aggressive, and I explain a lot of people the reason you have to get aggressive, and you have to say they're a piece of shit to their faces. They're a piece of shit. Is because these people, mainly transportation alternatives and all these nonprofits, they have no intentions of compromising. There is no compromise with these people. It's like in war, right? You think that the enemy is going to really compromise? Hell no, there's no compromising. There is no compromise here. What they believe is that what they want is law, and there's nothing and nobody that is going to change what they got going on. And until people start finding out, until people start recognizing and comprehending that there's people and there's nonprofits that have that want to do what they want to do, that are hell-bent on destroying your community, that are hell-bent on destroying your neighborhood, destroying your district, destroying what you got having going on, to the point where that there is no compromise, then you will understand that there's no more being nice with these people. And I can explain to you that there's always, I've been in this thing for years. I know in and outs a lot of these nonprofits, how they get shit done, how they really lobby, how they really influence people to do what they do, influence elected officials to do what they do, how they really coerce elected officials and certain stakeholders to bow down to their shit. But that's why a lot of them like me, because I know their shit in and out. I know their stuff in and out. I was in 3rd to BJ at one point, and I was part of political stuff, so I know how the shit goes, you know what I'm saying? where they go and intimidate elected officials, and they threaten elected officials, and they leverage what they got to leverage against elected officials to get them to bow down and do what they do. And these elected officials, majority of them, not all of them, because some of them have professional licenses. Some are engineers, some are lawyers, some are doctors, some are physicians. They got professional licenses, so they don't really need politics. They don't need it. But the majority of these guys and gals, they need it because that's all they can do. Is $142,000, $148,000, $184,000, $187,000, $253,000, $256,000, $259,000. Like, they need this shit. They need it. So of course they don't want to lose their job to somebody else. So they do what they do. So let's make this clear that tomorrow's gonna be an exploitation of death to get what they want, and it's some sad shit. So there's a lot go up here in 2025, and take care, and happy Tuesday. Later.